Welcome back to part 2 of Contractor John's Planning Your Kitchen Remodel the DIY Way. Before we get started, let's quickly recap part 1. I introduced myself, where I've been, where I am now. I also encourage you to be part of the dialogue by either posting to the Contractor John Facebook page or commenting on a video or blog article. This is how I'll get to know you and deliver the content that you need. You can find everything Contractor John at contractorjohn.com. We took a look at kitchen remodeling process from 30,000 feet and viewed some pretty dramatic before and after pictures of kitchen remodels. Now, if you missed part 1, I really encourage you to go back, find it in your inbox, and spend some time watching it as it lays some essential groundwork for this remodeling process. Now, let's jump right into part 2 of this series. Hi, Contractor John here. Let's talk about picking appliances. Kitchen appliances have truly come a long way. Just 20 years ago, kitchen appliances consisted mainly of a 30-inch stove, a 36-inch refrigerator, and a sink that fit into a 36-inch sink base. End of appliance discussion. Today, there are many, many more choices. Let's start this discussion of appliances with stoves and ranges. When selecting what has been the standard stove-oven combination unit or cooktop with a separate oven unit, you have the choice between a gas, an electric, or an induction unit. A gas stove, either natural or propane, is the most common, followed by electric, and a form of the traditional electric stove called induction. An induction type stove is a flat sealed surface powered by electric. It's the most efficient use of energy, but not necessarily the cheapest to operate. The final cost to operate it will depend on your utility rates. I found people that will remodel an entire kitchen just to get rid of that god-awful electric range. Give me my gas stove to cook with. Personal preference is the key here. Next, you can select the size and the configuration. A combination unit with the stove top and oven in one unit is one option. A cooktop and a separate oven is another. With this latter configuration, you generally have a double oven unit. A variation of the double oven configuration is one that has a single oven and then a warming oven, or even a single oven and a microwave. You also have a choice in the way that oven actually cooks. The standard choice is the conventional bake, roast, broil oven type. Or you can opt for a convection style. Now, a convection style oven is a unit that uses a fan to blow hot air around the item being cooked. This method results in faster cooking times, generally about 25% quicker cooking times. If you entertain and cook a lot, you may want to upgrade to a commercial style stove. They usually have 6 burners and or a built-in grill. Keep in mind, if you upgrade the stove, you will also have to upgrade the size and capability of the exhaust hood and the exhaust output. You may also have to increase the size of the gas supplies to that unit. Now, I'm going to digress for a second. This is the perfect real-life example of how changing one item, the regular stove to a commercial one, has unintended consequences, i.e., adding to the scope of work to include changing the exhaust duct size and possibly the gas supply. The result of this is an addition to your budget over and above the cost of the new stove. Please recognize that. Range or exhaust hoods come in a wide variety of styles and capabilities as far as removing the dirty air from the kitchen. Now, the basic types of hoods are either single exhaust hoods or the combination exhaust hood microwave units. Combination units can easily be configured to remove the air to the outside or to filter it, generally very poorly, and then recirculate it into the kitchen. Now, larger capacity hoods are single-use non-combo units and will remove quite a bit more dirty air. I highly recommend you exhaust all that dirty air directly to the outside instead of using the filter and recirculate option. It just doesn't work very well. Refrigerators come in a myriad of combinations also. beginning with a 24-inch wide unit, progressing up to 30, and what has been the standard size for decades, 36 inches wide, although much wider units are available. Now, the depth of a standard refrigerator is about 30 inches, which means it'll stick out approximately 6 inches from the countertop face. And although you can purchase countertop depth units that'll give you that built-in appearance, the height of a standard refrigerator can also vary from around 62 inches to 70 inches, and even taller in those super wide units. You'll want to make sure your refrigerator selection is done early in the remodeling process. Now, variations in width and height will affect the cabinet configuration. Also, the type of doors and the way they open will affect the placement of the unit within that cabinet layout. Refrigerator-freezer combination units can be found in a side-by-side configuration, or over-under. Having access to water and ice built in the door is quite often a convenience option. It can also be an energy-saving feature because you're not continually opening and closing the door. Now, some higher-end units have replaceable filters to assure you have clean drinking water when you're selecting this option. An appliance that was optional years ago is now a staple in the kitchen. Finding the space necessary for a microwave was a major problem when they were first introduced into the scene. They took up valuable countertop real estate. Now, as previously mentioned, microwaves can now be purchased in a combination unit with the exhaust fan. Microwaves that combine an exhaust fan with the microwave come in a standard 30 inches wide. This makes it easy to install them right over a standard 30-inch fan. Now, installing the microwave in this manner will necessitate a smaller cabinet above the stove, so again, be aware of that. Some microwave units can be built into other cabinets, but provisions must be made for the proper venting of that unit. Now, take note, that venting of a unit installed in this manner will require sufficient airflow around the exterior of the unit to enable it to function correctly. This is a separate issue from the exhaust venting, so please make sure your microwave model is able to be installed in this manner. Microwaves all cook the same way, except the conventional microwaves. These types of units are like mini ovens and can eliminate the need for a second full-size oven or even a warming oven. If you entertain and frequently cook large meals, this may be a great option for your kitchen. Now, dishwashers, they're next on our list. Everyone should be familiar with the standard drop-down door style of a dishwasher. That style of dishwasher has been around since they were first introduced. Now, there's a newer style of dishwasher being introduced, the drawer dishwasher. They can be mounted higher off the floor to make loading and unloading easier. There's also a top-loading dishwasher that's available. And all but the very high-end dishwashers come in 24-inch widths and are made to fit underneath the countertop. The front door of the dishwasher comes in a variety of colors and finishes, with stainless being the most popular. Now, some units actually accept a wooden panel so you can match it to your cabinet door style and color. Now, the cheaper models, they simply do not clean dishes adequately, so my recommendation is to stay away from it. Instead, invest in a quality model dishwasher. Now, people generally don't think of sinks as an appliance, but let me tell you, the kitchen sink is an integral part of a properly functioning kitchen. Sinks come in two basic mounting styles, either the top mount or the under mount, and a third hybrid type called the integral bolt. The top mount and its older cousin, the self-brimming mount, it has been around for decades and are the easiest to install. You simply drop the sink into the opening and secure it from underneath with these specially designed clips. Now, the undermount really came into vogue with the introduction of granite, quartz, and those acrylic type countertops. The mounting system needs studs mounted in the bottom of the countertop. and with the sink also fitting up against that bottom surface of the countertop. It goes inside these studs, and with the sink in place, these clips are installed onto the studs, bridging across the edge to the sink. The nuts tighten up on the clips, and the sink is secure. Now, integral bowls became possible using solid surface materials such as Corian. The sink bowl itself could be made of the same material that the countertops were made. The two products were joined together with no visible seam. These types of sinks come in a variety of shapes and sizes. They also offer different configurations, such as a deep bowl, a shallow bowl, one bowl, two bowl, one deep, one shallow. This adds to the flexibility of this type of sink. Your selection will have to do with the way you intend to use your kitchen, along with the look and feel that you're trying to achieve in your kitchen. Garbage disposals were invented in 1927, becoming two basic types. Continuous feed, which is far and away the most common, and the batch feed type. Now, continuous feed units are operated by a switch, and with the water running, you can continuously feed the food waste into that chamber, taking care to keep your hands away now from the entrance. A garbage disposal of this type will grind and pulverize solid food items that would otherwise wind up in the garbage can and eventually be introduced into a landfill. Now, combining the pulverized food with water just helps it travel through the sewer pipe into the waste treatment plant. If you have a septic system, you'll have some limitations with regard to what you can introduce into that environment without damaging the ecosystem of the septic field. So once again, watch out for that. Now, a batch feed disposal, that allows you, with the unit turned off, to fill the chamber, place a lid on it, and then switch it on until it's empty. And then you just repeat the process. These disposal units, all of them, come in sizes ranging from a third horsepower, a half, three-quarter, and full 1 horsepower motors. I personally would not recommend any unit below 3/4 horsepower, as jams are a common occurrence with these smaller units. Now, top brand names of garbage disposals are Badger and Sinclair. Trash compactors are a handy little gadget, especially in a larger family. They're mounted underneath the countertop, much like a dishwasher. They have a pull-out drawer where you place the garbage, you close the door, start the unit. It compacts the garbage many times less in volume than a conventional kitchen garbage can. Now, some units also have a built-in odor protection so you don't have to worry about that. Keep in mind that adding a unit such as this will reduce the amount of cabinet space you have. There are also specialty appliances that are available for your kitchen. Appliances like wine coolers and refrigerated drawers, to name a few. Add to that the entire family of countertop appliances. Now, some of these gadgets would include toasters, toasting ovens, food processors, blenders, both portable and built-in. And the list goes on and on. My recommendation for this family of kitchen gadgets is to plan on ample and easily accessible storage. An important point I'd like you to remember is to select these appliances before you design your kitchen. Otherwise, you're going to be forced to make do with whatever will fit inside your kitchen. Now, some brands, models, and styles of appliances have some different mechanical requirements for the plumbing, gas, and electric. But there are some common requirements, especially in the low to mid-price range. In part 3 of this series, I'll tell you how you can get all the standard rough-in dimensions and measurements for these types of appliances. It's really easy to do it right early on in the process, but if you forget it, or you get it wrong, then it'll cost you a lot to correct it later. Don't miss part 3 of this series. Hi, Contractor John here. Before I get into our talk on hard surfaces, let me take a little detour for a moment
and talk about the psychology of home building. When you first enter a room, what's the thing that you see? I know, obviously it's the first thing you look at, right? Now, that may sound like a stupid question, but really, what draws your eyes to it? Now, I know it'll matter if it's a room you've never entered before versus entering a room that you've already seen. So let's assume you're entering a room that you've never been in before. Now, your eyes will naturally begin to scan the room, stopping and taking in certain elements of that room. Colors, texture, contrast, the way the colors relate to each other are all factors in an almost instantaneous, unconscious decision your mind makes about the likability of that room. Now, in addition to that, you will almost certainly carry that likability factor over to the people who own that room. Consequently, in designing the room, you will want to create an environment where the visitor's eyes flow from one area to the next. You don't want to surprise or startle the viewer. Now, please keep that in mind when you're making the selections of your areas, hard surface areas in any room, especially the kitchen. Now, what exactly are these hard surfaces I'm alluding to? Let's find out. Hard surfaces in the kitchen consist of the floor, countertops, cabinets, and the backsplash area. Let's take a look at each one of those components, beginning with flooring. Now, flooring materials vary greatly, and more often than not, the floor is the largest surface area in the kitchen. Take, for instance, the many species of wood floors that are available today. Each of them has a different look, even before you add color to them. Speaking of color, the mid-range of the color spectrum will give you the most warmth and also appear softer. Wood floors come in planks or an individual board style. Installing the floor perpendicular to the eye will increase the width or shorten the room, while installing the boards in the same direction as the eye looks, that'll add length to the room. The eye will generally follow the direction of the pattern. Next, we have the family of hard tiles, such as quarry, ceramic, slate, marble, porcelain. These types of tiles are generally installed in squares, with grout lines ranging in width from 1/16 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, with the most common being 3/16 wide. These grout lines tend to stop the eye at regular intervals, making the room seem a little bit larger, especially if you use contrasting grout color. Generally speaking, these types of tiles give a harder, colder, more sterile look to the room. Now, saying that, there are some tiles, for instance slate, that add a little bit of visual warmth and depth because of their texture. There's also a certain color spectrum, the browns and the earth tones, that add a little bit more warmth. The family of vinyl tiles generally offer a warmer, softer look, even though the style of many of these copy the look of hard tile and wood. Remember now, if you're using a vinyl tile that copies the look of wood, the orientation of it, the boards, are still important and will add to the length or width of the room. Another factor you want to take into consideration when you're choosing flooring is how the color and the texture of the flooring will offset or relate to the cabinets. If you choose a middle of the color spectrum for your floor and that same color range in the cabinets, it'll tend to blend them together, and it doesn't give the eye a place to pause or stop. Now, laminate flooring, such as pergo, is also an option. This type of flooring is constructed of a high-density fiberboard, HDF. They combine it with resins, top it with a photographic layer covered in this hard, clear covering. It can be made to look like wood or stone. Now, it's highly stable and it's durable. And it's installed as a floating floor system, meaning each piece of flooring is attached to the next piece and it's not anchored or attached to the subfloor. Now, when you walk on it, it has an almost tinny or hollow sound. It's not one of my personal favorites. Now, estimating the amount of floor and wall tile can be challenging. In part 3, I'm going to tell you about a resource that makes all that type of estimating a breeze. So stick around for part 3. The next type of hard surface we're going to talk about are countertops. The standard in countertops for the longest time has been plastic laminate, i.e. Formica. Formica is a brand name, but they have such a foothold in the product line, the name became synonymous with laminate, much like Kleenex has. Laminate countertops are not quite as popular as they once were, but they still come in a very wide array of colors and textures. There truly is something for every situation. Edges and nosing can be added in contrasting colors, or even wood can be added to the edge of a Formica countertop. Next, we have a purely synthetic product, also known as solid surface material, with brands such as Corian. These materials are very versatile, allowing sink bowls made of the same material, but not necessarily the same color, to be seamlessly bonded to the countertop to form what is known as an integral bowl. This product can be worked with much like wood. It can be cut, sanded, and shaped with a router to form different edge contours. Also, adding stripes of contrasting colors is something that can be done to this versatile product line. A cousin to this type of material is a quartz product called siltstone. It's made up of quartz and a few other materials, and it's set in acrylic. It's non-porous, unlike granite. It's highly resistant to stains and easily maintained. Although made up primarily of quartz, it's still considered a synthetic product, and as such, it comes in a wide variety of colors and finishes. Now, a hugely popular product is granite. Granite is a natural stone product, and as such, the colors they're somewhat limited. In many cases, you will actually pick the raw slab of stone you want your countertops made from. Being a natural stone product, granite is porous, and it does need to be sealed yearly to prevent staining and discoloring. As far as sinks are concerned, stainless steel is generally used. These sinks are installed using an undermount method. Now let's talk about cabinets. Cabinets are often the focal point of a kitchen. Wood cabinets are far and away the most popular, followed by laminate face cabinets. The finish of these cabinets are what makes the statement, painted or stained. The same color blending and complementing rules apply to cabinets as other hard surfaces. You also have an opportunity to accent the cabinets with your choice of hardware. Hardware can be used to tie the appliances to the cabinets or any other feature of the kitchen by way of color, finish, or style. Our final hard surface is the backsplash. This term has often been associated with the actual countertop backsplash, the 4-inch tall lip that's the same material as the countertop. Sometimes it's attached directly to the countertop when they manufacture it, and other times it's applied to the wall and butted down to the countertop at the time of installation. What I'm talking about here is the entire backsplash area, from the top of the countertop to the bottom of the cabinets, generally a space about 18 inches tall. If you're going to install some type of material to this area, make sure that it's washable and stain resistant. I would also eliminate the actual 4-inch tall countertop backsplash. Instead, using the new material, you can create a visual and appealing backsplash area. You will want to select a backsplash area, product, or material in an appropriate color and texture that's complementary to the cabinets, yet offsets it enough to offer that break or pause for the eyes that we talked about earlier. Hopefully, you now see what selecting the right hard surface materials can do for your kitchen. As I've said over and over throughout this series, remember the 5 Ps: Proper planning prevents poor performance. Spend plenty of time planning and making the right choices now, and the result will be a kitchen that functionally and visually works.
Hi, I hope you enjoyed part 2, talking about appliances and hard surface selections. I hope you're beginning to see that properly planning your remodel is necessary if you want a quality job. So many parts of the remodeling process are either codependent or interdependent on each other. In this part of the series, we're building on what we learned earlier in part 1. Our conversation about cabinets coming in part 3 will add even more to your knowledge base. Part 3 will be arriving in your inbox in a couple of days, so be on the lookout for it. And if you know someone who would find this information useful, please feel free to forward it to them and or encourage them to sign up and follow me at ContractorJohn.com. In the meantime, have a blessed day.